Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. I believe the Bible is God's inspired, flawless word. But who ultimately decided that these, quote, 66 books of the Bible, which have been written over a period of 3,000 years together, result in God's word, which is addressed to humanity? Thank you. Well, to whomever submitted it, you're welcome. What we've got to deal with today is a distinction between what we call the doctrine of inspiration and the doctrine of preservation. When we speak about inspiration, that's what God spoke, that's what God breathed. We talk about, as you referenced, these 66 books of the Bible is what God breathed. He used Moses as an instrument, David as an instrument, Matthew as an instrument, respectively throughout all 66. So that's the doctrine of inspiration. If I hear your question right, you're really concerned with the doctrine of preservation. How do we know that these are the four Gospels that God wanted? How do we know that these 66 books, is there a 67th one floating out there? The doctrine of preservation is the belief or the construct that God didn't just speak His word, but that He preserves it to keep it for time eternal. Allow me to illustrate with a very simple concept. What we know as preserves today is when you take a respective item, and let's just take a fruit, for example. You want to preserve peaches. You take a peach off the tree, then you take that fruit, you place it in a jar with sugar and other elements and such, and you seal it up so that later in time you're able to eat. Now, that peach does not have the same consistency as it did coming off the tree. It has an additional set of nutrients and items that it didn't have coming off the tree. However, we know that it's still a peach. It's been preserved. The reason I'm speaking of that, think in terms of this. When the Lord inspired Moses to give us the first 5 books of the Bible, think of it as taking the peach off the tree. The fact that you and I today have those 5 books as a part, think of it as the preserve that we would utilize in some form of culinary fashion. So when we speak about the famous 66, we could talk about councils. There's councils of Jamnia and all these other places. If you want to look at it, quote, formally, I believe that was a part of God's process of preservation. The writing was inspiration. Great question. If you have one, send it to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.